Okay, so for week 14, we're going to look at the chemical properties of soil. So back in week 4, I think it was, we did soil physical properties. But essentially today, what we want to do is look at how much salt or fertilizer have we put on our trees. If we were actually going to week 14, that would be about 8 weeks since we started using fertilizer. So we're going back to the salt level rating. We're going to measure the conductivity of a mixture of soil and water to see if we're approaching high, excessive, or lethal levels of salt in our soils, in our trays. And we don't expect to be there, but this is something that is done in nurseries so that they can make sure that we're not getting to that point. We don't want to find out when it's too late. We want to know ahead of time. So we're going to take a multi-pot and a jiffy. Those have to be kept separate because what's going on in one may not be going on in the other. And we're not going to just take the soil from one cavity. We're going to take the soil from 3 cavities, mix it together really well, and the idea is that that will give us an overall idea of how that tray is looking. So the first step will be to mix all the soil together. Then we have distilled water, and we're going to put that into 40 mils of distilled water into 20 grams of soil. We're going to mix it together really well, and then we're going to let it settle. We can't just take our pH or conductivity meter and dunk it in soil. It's not programmed to read measurements in solids. So we need to suspend whatever's in the soil in solution, and then we can measure it accurately. We're using distilled water because it's not going to have any conductivity. If we weren't using distilled water, we'd have to do what we did in week 6 or 7 and measure the conductivity of the tap water and then take it away before we get our true measurement. So to empty out 3 cavities in the multi-pots, we're just going to select empty cavities. That way we're not sacrificing any trees, but we'll still have a good idea of what's going on. Because the empty cavities will still have water in them. And ideally we want to get all of the soil out of each cavity. The multi-pots are easy because you can poke the hole in the bottom, and depending on how long your fingers are, you can then just grab what's above the tray level. So my fingers are nice and long and goofy, so this happens to work really well. And we'll just empty out 3 full cavities. And once we have 3 full cavities in here, then we'll be back and show you the mixing and the adding of the water.